boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's Father's Day this weekend.
Yeah, I know.
And guess what?
What?
I'm a father. So guess what?
Since when did we know that?
Yeah, you owe me.
Hello. Is it warm enough?
As a stepmother, you want to love them, but I think any stepmother will tell you this, that you didn't actually give birth to these kids. You are not their parent and you are not their mother. And so that you need to learn how to love these kids. It's not an automatic thing because they're not your children. They're not biologically your children.
Hello.
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 Anybody home?
The girlfriend's here, Johnny.
But we try to impress with them that this is their family.
Oh, are you?
They are part of this family and this is their home. They have two homes, you know, which is a bonus.
Do beg my pardon? You would find a girt supporting a wall and not attaching a gutter.
Okay.
All right, yes, it was a fact.
Yeah! Oh, yes!
It's good. The house becomes twice as alive as it normally is. I would have enjoyed my Father's Day, and I know this will probably come out exactly the wrong way, whether Rod and Erin were here or not, because I've got my other two kids here and John as well. And Sam and Ruth are my kids. I think it'd be terribly unfair for me to go, Rod and Erin aren't here, I'm not going to enjoy Father's Day. I've only got Ruth and Sam. Doesn't work that way, not in my book. Okay, it makes it even more fun, even more special that Rod and Erin are here because they're not here all the time.
Are you sure you're not trying to crush me?
A few weeks ago, Jack was struggling with some of his gymnastics work and we had a long chat about it and we talked about ways to approach it and how to sort of think about getting past where he was stuck. And he had a couple more sessions then in the week when he was at home and he really knuckled down and took some of that we talked about and focused really hard. And nothing happened. He was still stuck. And then the following week, when he's not home, he suddenly got it. It clicked. And so I heard about that on the phone. So that's what I mean about celebrating the triumphs. And you need to stay connected to the kids when they're not home. And I'm sure every parent feels the same way. So you miss the contact and you miss being able to give them a hug when those things happen, or a high five. Yeah. You want a little one?
So Daddy will bring you over to the new house. Yeah, well, the renovations, the builder is due to arrive.
Last Monday.
Last Monday, so he's on time, in his mind.
It's special to be doing it together and actually creating something new, so...
We're really excited about actually having more space for the first time, living all of us together.
The reality is often different than, you know, the textbook or the research. And, you know, lots of the step families that I see, you know, the struggles are with going through those initial phases of trying to come to terms with the fact that family life has changed significantly.
I've lived here for about 14 years. It wasn't the first house I've ever owned. Some of the dream got started with renovating downstairs, or at least re-stumping and concreting downstairs. But that was about as far as it got until now. Staying in this house was part of stability, I guess, and part of a reference point for myself and for Jack. And that, to me, seemed to be more important than needing to be out of it at that point in time.
Do you know why it's perhaps so difficult, I guess, for you to have a cooperative relationship with the ex?
No, I have no idea why it's so hard. It shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that hard. No, anything else would be pure speculation. I don't know what the motivation or reasons are, but things haven't changed a whole lot, unfortunately.
In Craig's case, you know, I think that court situation has had a very detrimental effect on their ability to parent together because there's no trust there.
Going through a court case is not a particularly pleasant experience. It sort of generates more bad feelings, I think, than it actually resolves. Certainly in terms of parenting, and it doesn't have a great contribution to that.
The dirt that's dug up on somebody in a courtroom, that's not forgotten. Either solicitor may be, you know, presenting the other person in a pretty negative light to discredit them, basically. It's designed to discredit the other parent, to say, I'm the, you know, responsible, respectful parent here, the other parent isn't, which is damaging for both people because that's not forgotten. Whilst one person may be wanting to be more cooperative and flexible, if the other person has not moved on from the past, it's that bitterness and underlying resentment that can fuel that, drive that current behaviour to resist trying to be cooperative. And, you know, how do you deal with that?
Don't mind the skip.
Renee's going on. Actually,
Yeah.
the girls just told me.
We're just moving up the road.
Yeah, we were quite adamant that we just knew if we went into the court system that mine and Lan's relationship would be completely irreconcilable, I think, in terms of trying to manage any type of process. You know, my solicitor said the same thing, I think hers did, saying, look, you just end up being adversaries. As difficult as that time was, there was still a fair bit of trust and, you know, concern for each other. When I or Lan struggled with what was going on, we tried to come back to that point of, you know, look, we both share pretty similar values here. We both are absolutely committed to the children. You know, let's see how we can work this out.
I communicate everything to Clay, you know, and we both are on email all the time. So it's, you know, it's easy to communicate when you've got it set up in that way. We don't have to phone each other for every single little thing.
When you see other people's co-parenting relationship and you sort of compare it to your own, you always find things you can learn and maybe things you can hope for.
I mean, obviously, you can't make someone else go there. You know, it takes two.
The party, won't you, girls? Bye, gorgeous. Did you say goodbye to Lou? Bye. Bye, girls.
You know, most kids can cope with a significant life event. In that case, you know, separation or divorce, and changed family circumstances. Over time, you know, the majority can deal with that. But if they are continually exposed to conflict between parents, that does the most damage.
You know, as a parent, you're always thinking about things that you miss. And one of the things is just the continuity of the relationship with him, and that affects both parents, and being able to maintain contact with him, which is really important, and for him to be able to maintain contact with his parents, even though he's not around. Remember that all the love is still there, even when you're not physically present. Yeah. The hardest bit for any parent is when their child's away. And whether they're in a separated parenting arrangement or not, if you're away from your children and you know, you notice that they're not there. So, even harder, I suppose, when you don't see them for a number of days at a time, wondering what's happening in their life. So, yep.
The thing that I've found, you know, as more time passes after a divorce, you know, both parents are on their own paths, you know, and so the differences in values and life goals can become more apparent.
And yes, I'll be brutally honest, yeah. There are times when I wish I didn't have to ever communicate with her again. I'd be blatantly lying if I said that wasn't the case. But the hard, cold facts are I have to for my kids. If I want to see my kids, I have to speak with my ex.
And that's the struggle. So, because there's more distance between them. They don't have that emotional, intimate connection anymore, and yet they still need to be able to work together for the sake of the child.
Bro, you ready to get going?
Yeah, just about.
Okay.
I love seeing them on weekends, but I also hate it because I know that time's going to come to an end and I have to say goodbye. And it's like you have your heart ripped out once every fortnight. It's gut-wrenching. Rod is very sensitive. He's torn. They're both torn. It's almost like they're afraid to talk to me for fear of upsetting Mum.
Probably trying to arrive at the right time. It's going to take 4 minutes to stop.
OK, now watch out for Mum. She'll probably be in one of the doors. How many is that? One. Who would ask their children to choose? They're torn, they're confused. They probably don't want to come down here to live because they feel that they'd be letting their mum down, but by the same token, they don't want to tell me they don't want to come down here to live because they feel they'd let me down. It's an impossible situation for them.
Hope you have a good time.
All right, off you go.
Have a good time.
Yeah, see you in a couple of weeks, guys.
Okay, mate. Okay.
All right.
Okay, see you.
Bye-bye. Be good.
Okay.
Have a good weekend, Darren. Bye-bye. Yeah, will do, mate. It's not much fun. No, you kind of get used. Well, no, you don't ever get used to it, but no, it's certainly not one of the highlights of my week or weekend. But it's the lifestyle at the moment. There's not a whole lot we can do about it. So take the good with the bad, I say. Things will change. Things will change.
What we usually do is we have a disco over there type of arrangement. I don't want to go through another relationship and not talk, not discuss things. Be open to all problems and situations. Kitchens. Yeah, if I would have done that at the beginning, I think we would have probably turned out a little bit better for the situation for our kids and for ourselves.
The main table is going to be set up already with the kai on the table, so they'll be served.
Okay.
Okay, because I've spoken to Claudia.
Yeah.
When Tamai came back into the picture for the first time, Tamai Senior, Tamai Junior was only 13 at the time. I thought he was arrogant, quite arrogant. Had no concept of how it was for the boys. He thought that he could just step into their lives and that it was going to be okay. Because it wasn't. And the boys certainly told him that, certainly demonstrated that, because they made it really difficult for him. He's learnt that he will have to bridge that gap. He will have to build that relationship.
It's a shame that we didn't actually have to spend more time with each other. I would have loved to assure being with my sons more so, and just be the family man that I know that I would have loved to actually had a life with them and share everything that I've got with them.
Get out! Go, Eddie! Come on!
And that's the end result, guys. Grab it, that's our home. Here it goes. Slide it, mate.
Are totally different, but we're trying to pick up and share as best as we can what we got and just go with day by day and learn about each other, relearning, readjusting, accepting that things weren't the greatest for the both of us, or my sons. Now, Tamai's in my life, he's around me more often, he's learning to adjust. He's learning about attitude around dad and stepmum, and so he's learning a lot of things within the home. We all know the reason why we're here. It's the 21st for Tamai. Those times that I have spent with you have been little. However, sharing that time now with you, it hasn't come with easy gifts. Purely and simply because I haven't been a real true father to you. The man that really has been responsible for your growth, for all my sons' growth, I acknowledge him and respect him wholeheartedly. So having said that, my words to you, be strong, be courageous. When things do get low, don't jump into the deep end. Shine a bit of light and keep smiling. Keep your face in the future and keep moving ahead. And so happy birthday, son. Happy birthday.
I've done almost a full circle. And one thing I've learned, what's important. Family. You know, people, relationships. That's the one thing that's, I believe, is important. Top priority, my priority, is whānau. The past is water under the bridge. That love we have is unconditional. Doesn't matter if my boy, you know, took me to hell and back a number of times. But that's the one thing that helped me to him, to his brothers, to his father, Claudia, and all of you. Tamai, tēnā koe, Tamai. Happy birthday. I brought that whalebone piece for my son. It's actually for our son, Claudia and Tamai, our boy. E tū koe? I don't know whether you can fit it.
I've been doing the threatening thing for maybe the last year, you know, well, look, I'll have to take you to court if we can't sort this out. They got to the stage where the ex went, oh, you always say that, but you never do. My answer to that was, OK, see you in court. Should I take this?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Are you? Yes, are you ready to go? Because we need to go.
I've just got to put my shoes on, OK, and brush my teeth, and then we're going.
Yeah, we'll leave at 9. Plenty of time.
Well, didn't see anybody helping me get the kids ready.
Sorry, dear.
Graham is feeling extremely stressed and I'm not helping much because we're running late.
You know, I haven't met anyone yet who's had a positive experience through the courts, because the problem is that the court takes the decision out of a parent's hands and it becomes a powerless sort of experience, because regardless of what you say, the judge then decides how it will be.
I wanted to keep it out. I was desperate to keep it out of court, but there comes a time where you just have to bite the bullet and do it if you can't agree.
He really needs this resolved. It's gotten completely out of control over the past 7 years for him. So I think this is a really big step in the right direction, and I think he's pleased he's finally doing it.
So, yeah, it's very much a last-ditch effort. Not something I wanted to do, but something I have to do.
If the circumstances are, you know, positive and people can move on from the past, I think that's the key. You've got to be able to come to terms with the past and move forward and embrace your life as it is now, not how it was, and embrace the people in your life now, rather than thinking it should be this ideal.
In my wildest dreams, I never imagined that I would marry anyone like Graham. No, in all honesty, I'd never imagined I'd marry anyone like Graham. I thought I was going to be swept off my feet by a knight in shining armour. He tried, but he fell over.
There's one thing, though, and it's not one thing I live by, and that is love is for the brave. There's a whole lot of cowards in the world that'll just never let themselves go to those places that you just leave yourself open to be trampled or hurt. But I learnt one thing, love is for the brave, and Charles and me are brave.
I can't imagine life without Graham now. No. It would not be, it would be half a life without Graham. We have our ups and downs, and he drives me crazy, I drive him crazy. I know I drive him crazy. But I don't think either of us would cope without the other now. So I guess I'm going to have to say he is my knight in shining armour.
She's just going to put rollers in it, and then you sort of brush it out to go like that.
These are the shoes that we're wearing, and this is the dress here, and I think it's really pretty. I have my dress and my shoes, and I think it's pretty too. We looked at all different types of shops, but we looked in lots, but this is the one we found, so we went with our mum. But yeah, we practically got to choose, so.
There is no loyalty conflict, which is the case for a lot of kids. You know, how do I love my dad or my mum and then embrace this new stepmother or stepfather? I was talking to them about this in the coffee shop the other day. You know, I asked them how they felt about it, and, you know, letting them know how much I appreciated, you know, them embracing Craig, and that was an amazing thing that they've been able to do, you know, that they have come to terms with the fact that their dad and I are not going to be married, you know, and they're okay with that because they have such a secure relationship with him. They know he's not going to disappear just because I'm getting married. He's still going to be their dad regardless.
We've got beautiful. Come on. Out the window.